We're here with UFC welterweight Matt Brown, a longtime veteran in the UFC. Matt, how are you doing today?
Very good.
I'm glad to hear it. So Matt, you wanted a quick turnaround after your fight against Ben Saunders in December, and you wanted to fight here on this UFC Columbus card that's coming up on March 28th. Why is it so important for you to come back and fight in your hometown where you actually live?
Well, I actually wasn't looking for a quick turnaround, but when I seen that they were going to have a card here in Columbus, I had to get on it. This is my home. All my friends and family are going to be there, so it's great to give them a great show.
Yeah, and I know your kids are very important to you, Matt. Are they going to be at the fight? Do they come to the fights generally?
Yeah, they've been to a bunch of my fights. My daughter's still a little young. She's only 4, and she's kind of a little firecracker, a little spark plug. So she may or may not go. We'll see. But the boys, they love it, and they'll be there 100%.
And so I believe you're 2-0 in fighting on UFC cards in Ohio. Is that correct? One in Cincinnati and one in Columbus.
Yeah.
Do you have a sense of an extra motivation to, defend your kind of home court, if you will?
It's the same thing wherever you go. Like the octagon, the arena is all the same. So when I step in there and the bell rings, is the same thing no matter where you're at. I guess in the daily training, there's a little bit of extra fire under your butt. So, but I'm disciplined and I stay training all the time. So, it's the main thing is trying to pull that back a little bit and not let the pressure of fighting in your hometown get to you.
Right. And how much easier does that make training for the fight in terms of not having to travel and stuff like that?
It doesn't change really because I only travel the week of the fight anyway. So I have a gym here that I train at all the time, and I train for all my fights there. So.
Yeah. Matt, when was there ever a moment for you, when you were younger, where you, like a specific moment where you fell in love with fighting, or when did you know that this was going to be your career?
Well, I fell in love with it the first time I ever did it. So I signed up for a fight before I had any training at all, and that was the day I said, this is what I want to do. I seen there was a bigger picture. I never knew that I would be, or never pictured myself being where I'm at today, where this is all I do and I make a living off of it. But the day that I stepped out of there, I won that fight where, again, I hadn't trained or anything. I won, and I come out and I said, this is what I'm going to do for my life. I don't know if it's going to be, being a world-class fighter. I don't know if it's going to be fighting local for the rest of my life or teaching martial arts or whatever. But I never gave myself a plan B after that. There was plan A or death.
Right. And now, you've opened a business, not just fighting, but now you run a gym, Immortal Martial Arts Center as well. Can you talk about the origins of your gym, how that all came about and stuff like that?
Yeah, I always wanted to own a gym. And our career, all professional athletes, it's all short-lived. I've been in the UFC way longer than the vast majority. I'm way above the average, so I'm an anomaly in that, and been blessed to keep my health and be able to keep doing that. So really the gym was sort of, it's natural because I like teaching, I like helping, but it was natural, and for a business move, just to use my mind, use my brain, and have something for when I'm done fighting and have something already built rather than try to completely rebuild your life at the same time you're going through retirement. And on top of that, I kind of felt some urgency with my kids getting to the age that they're at. I have 9-year-old boys now. So I felt, I need to have something for them right now. I want them to come to the gym with me and hang out with their dad, do what their dad does. And they wanted to too. So rather than taking them somewhere else, I said, I'm going to build a place for them, and it's going to be theirs.
Yeah. And do you feel, what's kind of the difference now that you're kind of in like a teacher role with the gym? Is that something that's different for you now? You feel yourself more as a teacher than just like a fighter?
Well, as a teacher, you learn a lot about yourself, and you really learn how to consolidate the techniques and the principles and the fundamentals of the sport that you're participating in. But the most fulfilling thing is seeing these kids grow as human beings, and we talk about that all the time. We're building a human development model through the martial arts rather than an athletic development model. And watching these kids, some of them come down, their heads are down and they're maybe scared or low confidence, low self-esteem. A month later, you see these kids walk around with their chest puffed out, proud of themselves, accomplishing things. And for my own kids, who never really had that problem, but you know, we see that too. For my own kids, they're very successful at everything they do. So the jiu-jitsu in particular, but also the striking and judo and stuff, but it taught them how to fail. The first time my kids walked off the mats off a loss, you know, they're bawling their eyes out. And they say, okay, you got to get back on the horse and go try again, buddy. And learning those lessons, building that character is something invaluable that you don't necessarily get with team sports. They play, you know, like flag football, and they lose a game and say, you know, my team wasn't good enough. When they walk off the mats, they know that it was them out there by themselves and they didn't put enough in it. Or when they win, the opposite. They say, I won. I did this. I put the time and energy. I put the focus in. And you can't build that character, in my opinion. At least I haven't seen it in anything else.
Right. And Matt, you know, you do have the word immortal, you know, tattooed on you. It's your nickname. It's the name of your gym. Can you talk about kind of the significance of that word to you? Why does it mean so much to you? And what does it mean to you?
Well, the main thing, so the story of me actually getting the tattoo is kind of a joke. So I overdosed on heroin when I was younger, and you know, obviously I lived through it. So my friends were kind of making a running joke. I had a few other brushes with death. That was the most significant, closest call. And they were just joking around and saying, dude, you're immortal, right? And it kind of stuck with me after that. And I was like, you know what? I wanted to change my life. And it was a little something, just a reminder, like, you are immortal. You know, you can feel that way. You can live that way. And that's the way I live my life now. You know, you can, again, I don't have a plan B's. I have a plan A, and my plan is to get to the top of that mountain. If you bury me on the way to the mountain, I'm going to dig and crawl my way out, and I'm going to get right back in your face. I'm going to kick down the doors on the way up there. I'm going to climb over the rocks and everything, and I'm going to get to the top. And if I die trying, then I die trying. But you know, when I have something in my mind, I go for it, and I give everything that I have to it.
Mm-hmm. And Matt, one guy that was kind of helping you get to the top of that mountain, so to speak, when your last fight was Mark Coleman, UFC Hall of Famer and former Ohio State wrestling NCAA champion. Is he in your camp again for this fight?
Yeah, Coleman's around all the time. Great friend, great guy. He's got a very, very strong personality, so a lot of people take him the wrong way. He's very outspoken, likes to talk a lot, but he's an absolute inspiration and understands the sport, understands the daily grind, understands the ups and lows, and he's just a great figurehead. He's sort of the Mickey and Rocky.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Is there any specific lessons that you could say that you've taken from him, you know, training with him the last couple of fights?
Boy, I could think of a lot of them. You know, I think the one thing that he really brings, and it reminds me, is how big this really is and how short of a time that you have to do this. He keeps me reminding me that, you know, every fight's the Super Bowl. You know, you're risking your life every time you go out there. You really are. Of course, it's, you know, deaths are extremely rare in the sport, but your life is on the line. Your health is on the line, and he keeps that in my mind all the time. And because within that daily grind, it's easy for us to take it for granted, to forget what we're doing. Mm-hmm. You know, we really enjoy the gym. It's sort of a social hour for us meatheads, I guess. And, you know, we have a lot of fun in there, and we forget that, you know, we're going to go in front of our friends and family with our lives on the line.
Right. And Matt, you know, I did mention Mark Coleman. He did come to Ohio State and play sports here. And you are an Ohioan, so did you pay any attention to Ohio State sports? And that's what we mostly cover here. Did you pay any attention to Ohio State football, anything like that, or not so much?
Yeah, a little bit. You know, I've never been a huge sports guy. Mm-hmm. I've been a combat sports guy, wrestling. So I've always watched the wrestling, and I mean, there's so many combat sports now with jiu-jitsu and karate, boxing, Muay Thai. I mean, the list goes on and on. So I've always been an individual sport guy, mm-hmm. But you know, I live in Ohio. You can't help but watch. So I love watching. You know, especially, you know, I became friends with Maurice Claret. Mm-hmm. You know, he's changed his life around for the positive. He's a huge inspirational figure in my life too. So, you know, when you kind of becomes more personal like that, you start following a little closer also.
Right. Are you familiar with like Tom Ryan, the wrestling coach here at all?
I know Tom very well. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And Matt, for a couple of years, like from '07 to '09, the UFC came to Columbus quite a few times, and even Cincinnati, stuff like that. Why do you think there hasn't been a UFC event in the last 10 years?
I'm not sure. You know, that's up to the promoters, and I think probably a huge part of it, excuse me, was their worldwide expansion. And there's just so many options, so many cities. They're going all over the world. It is hard to prioritize a place they've already been. So there's other cities in America that have been through similar things, and they go there, and you know, if it's not a sellout right away, they're like, we need to explore another market. Right. You know, they're just going all these different places and trying to find what's going to be the best.
Yeah, but that's what was kind of surprising to me, because I was looking at some of the attendance numbers and stuff of UFC events, and it seemed like they had good attendance. You know, last time they were in Columbus. What can you tell me? What do you remember about the last time you fought at Nationwide back in 2009?
Well, I had more family there than I did at my family reunion, so I remember that much. You know, I had a great fight. It was a beautiful night, and you know, I plan on doing that again. So, you know, I remember. I mean, Columbus is an amazing place, and I think we get taken for granted a lot. I think we're kind of forgotten over to the side a lot, but it's a great city, great people, and I feel very blessed to represent Columbus in this show.
Mm-hmm. And I know I've heard you say that you know, fighting for you is more about yourself than your opponent. But what do you know about your opponent, Miguel Beza?
Well, he's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. He's knocked out the majority of his opponents, even though he's a black belt in jiu-jitsu, and he's going to be very hungry. There's a huge, huge opportunity for him, and he's going to have his back against the wall coming into my hometown. So he's got everything to lose, or everything to gain, I mean, and nothing to lose. So I got to put the stamp on him, let him know, welcome to the big leagues, and you know, you stepped on the wrong toes. Right.
And you know, it's only his second UFC fight after coming off of Dana White's Contender Series. Mm-hmm. Is that something? Do you take any pride in being like, no, they're not just gonna, this kind of young guy's not just gonna come, you know, take my spot. I'm still, you know, a veteran, and I still know some tricks over him.
Well, again, like you said, I mean, the fight's about me. I know that if I go out there and I perform my best, I know that if I beat myself, if I win the battle internally, then no one out there can stop me.
Mm-hmm. And Matt, so I guess what are some of the highlights or your favorite moments of your career thus far in the UFC?
Fighting in Cincinnati was certainly a huge one. Like, that was the first one that my kids came to, and again, with my, you know, have a lot of friends and family there. It was a great fight. I was a main event, won the fight. My kids got to come into the octagon with me after, so that made it a beautiful thing. That's probably my biggest moment, just, you know, due to my kids being able to be there. The other one would be like when I fought Robbie Lawler. You know, we just had a great fight, and there was something like 3 million viewers, and I was a main event and 5 rounds, and you know, I felt like I won the fight even though they gave it to him. So, but I felt like I performed that night. Mm-hmm. Probably, you know, maybe one of the best that I performed.
And Matt, would it mean more for you to get a win at this stage in your career, 10 years after your last, you know, win in Columbus?
Yeah, win, lose, this is all the same, you know. I just go out, fight, do the best I can. Again, it's really about myself. It's about expressing myself through my art the best that I can, and learning about myself and growing as a human, and stepping up that level every single time, and inspiring the next generation. So whether I win or lose is really just a consequence of whether I do all those things right, and whether I beat myself. Mm-hmm. You know, as long as I can win that battle internally, then I can walk away on Sunday on a win or a loss, happy, content with my life.
Mm-hmm. Well, Matt, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Thanks so much for coming in today.
My pleasure.
I believe tickets go on sale for the UFC event on March 28th, but the tickets go on sale on January 31st, I believe. And you can see Matt Brown fight in his hometown against Miguel Beza. I'm sure it'll be a great fight. And thanks again, Matt.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.